Hey everyone, welcome to today's lesson. My name is Wes. This is Interactive English, which if you want to practice and improve your English, then you are in the right place. And that's what this channel is all about. And today I have a grammar lesson for you, and we are going to talk about direct speech versus reported speech. And I'm going to give you some different examples and talk about, well, when to use them, but also how to change back and forth between direct speech and reported speech. But before we jump into it, if you are new here and this is your first time watching one of our lessons, please write to me in the chat or write to me in the comments. Tell me your name, where you're from, because I love hearing from everyone, especially people who are new to the channel. But I want to give a quick shout out to those who are with me right now. Hello, Gladys, Angela, Samuel, Lali, Hiwa, Yornli, Abdullah, Murillo, Mary Jane, Gosia. Thank you guys for joining me. Hope everybody is having a wonderful weekend. Gertrudis, Abdurrahman, Anderson, Michelangelo. I'm going to try and throw in some more shout outs here and there because I am going to have you guys practice a little bit today with reported and direct speech and changing back and forth between the two. So let's just go ahead and begin and really define, well, what are these? What does it mean, direct speech and reported speech? So direct speech is talking about the actual words that a person says. And this is when you would have quotes around the words. It's really what the person says. And you could think of it like, well, what are they directly saying? Reported speech, which is also called indirect speech, they're the same. It's a description of what someone else has said without using the exact words. Now, the reason why I chose to say reported speech instead of indirect speech, because I think most of the time, if you are looking up about this grammar in particular, I think often people are going to use the phrase reported speech instead of indirect speech, but they're the same. They're one and the same. Because in this case, you are reporting what someone else has said. It's not direct. You are reporting this information to someone else. And because you're reporting it, often you're talking about what someone has said in the past. They have already said this thing, and you're telling this to someone else, so it was something they said in the past. So this is what it means, direct speech and reported speech. So let's now look at, let me give you some examples, okay? This is a conversation using direct speech. You see, I put it in quotes. This was a discussion that I had this morning. My wife and I were talking, and I said, I'll just read it for you. And it's talking about me. So I can say, he said, "We need more wine." "I thought you bought some," she replied. "I'll go to the store," he said. "Can you also get some Nutella?" she asked. Okay, so this is a conversation, a real conversation that my wife and we had this morning, talking about getting some wine. My wife, she loves Nutella, so she asked me to get some more Nutella. Now, this is direct speech. These are the exact words that we said. Now, if we're going to change this, if you heard this conversation and then you were telling someone else, like, whoa, well, what did they talk about this morning? What was their conversation? We can change that to reported speech, and it would look something like this. "He said we needed more wine. She thought he had bought some. He said that he would go to the store. She asked if he could also get some Nutella." So in that case, this is the same conversation using reported speech. Now, I'm going to talk about specifics of how we change that right now. I just wanted to give you a little bit of an example of when what direct speech would look like, a conversation, and then how we would change that to reported speech. So the first thing that I want to show you is this little graph right here. And I apologize because you're going to see me moving all around the screen today. So if you're talking about direct speech, this is a graph. Wait, it's up here. that you might see in grammar books. If you're changing direct speech from reported speech, if the direct speech, if it's in the present simple, it's going to get changed to the past simple. If it's in the present continuous, it'll get changed to the past continuous. If it's in the past simple, you change it to the past perfect, present perfect, past perfect. Will gets changed to would, and can gets changed to could. Now we're going to go through, there it is. We're going to go through each one of these, and I will give you an example and show you how it's changed, and then we'll practice it a little bit because, like they say, practice makes perfect. So let's start with that first one, and we're going to look at present simple in direct speech getting changed to the past simple. All right, so here we go. I'm big again. All right, so if we have direct speech and says something, this is just an example. She said, I go for a run every day. All right, this person, she's making this statement. These are all statements that we're talking about, just simple statements. I go for a run every day. It's in the present simple. I go for a run. If you change that to reported speech, we're going to change that main verb, go. It's going to get changed to the past simple. And we'll say, she said she went for a run every day. Now, I will say that this is just me. This is how it would be presented in a grammar book, the appropriate grammar. Present simple to past simple. I think you may hear people, and I'm guilty of this too, I may not change it to the past simple. I might just say, she said she goes for a run every day. That is something you might hear. Now, I'm not putting that on here because I want to stick with what the grammar would specifically tell you if you were to research this in a grammar book. Present simple gets changed to the past simple. Now, the other thing I wanted to point out is I said, she said that. In this case, the reason why I put that in parentheses is because that is optional, all right? You don't have to say it. You can omit it if you want. This is your preference. She said that she went for a run every day. That's fine. Or you can take it out. She said she went for a run every day. The one thing I will say is that I think it's more common that if you're talking about verbs like very common verbs like say, I think it's common that you will omit that and you're not going to use it. That's just my opinion. I think it's very common in that case you would omit that when it's introducing this relative clause. So if you say something like common verbs like say, she said she went for a run, or common verbs like know, instead of saying I know that, you would just say I know she went for a run every day. So keep that in mind, and I will come back to that in just a second. So again, present simple gets changed to the past simple. Let's look at present continuous gets changed to the past continuous. An example, we were taking a vacation, my parents said. We're taking a vacation, my parents said. In this case, I'm actually using the present continuous to talk about future time, and I know that's confusing. I apologize if it is, but the rule still stays the same. If we change it to reported speech, my parents said they were taking a vacation. Present continuous gets changed to past continuous, all right? Now let's look at past simple gets changed to the past perfect. He said, I met my friend for dinner. I met my friend for dinner is in the past simple. If we change that to reported speech and you're saying it to someone else, he said he had met his friend for dinner. He said he had met his friend for dinner. It gets changed to the past perfect. So again, I'm doing this because I want you to think about the changes in the verb tense right now, from direct speech to the reported speech, okay? The next one is if you have the present perfect, it also gets changed to the past perfect. She explained, I have witnessed a crime. That's in the present perfect. I have witnessed a crime. If we're going to change that to reported speech, it's going to be in the past perfect. She explained that she had witnessed a crime. So I have witnessed a crime. She had witnessed a crime in the past perfect. Now, the one thing I would say is I changed that reporting. I changed that verb. Instead of she said, I used she explained. And because I'm using explained here, I felt it would be better to keep that. Instead of omitting that, I'm going to keep it, and I'd say she explained that she had witnessed a crime. Instead of said, which I told you, if you're using a common verb like say, you might omit that. For example, she said she had witnessed a crime. So again, I realize I'm throwing a lot of different little things at you, and I may come back to some of this a little bit later and do a more in-depth thing, but I wanted to try and just focus on some of the basics about when to change these things. So for example, very simple, will gets changed to would. We will help you move tomorrow, my friend said. All right, we changed that to reported speech, and we're not going to use will, we're going to use would. My friends said they would help us move tomorrow. My friends said they would help us move tomorrow, all right? That is reported speech. You're talking about what this other person said. Will gets changed to would, and of course can in direct speech is going to get changed to could. He mentioned she can drive us to work tomorrow. He mentioned she can drive us to work tomorrow. Remember, I said mention, so now I'm going to keep that. He mentioned that she could drive us to work tomorrow. All right, instead of she can drive us, she could drive us. Excellent. Well, hello, Sungki Park. Thank you for thank you for becoming a member. Excellent. So let's practice this a little bit, and now you get to practice your typing skills, because I'm going to give you a sentence, and I want you to change it from direct speech to reported speech. All right. So here is this one, all right? Wes said, reading is a great way to improve your English skills. And here I am up in the corner. I told you I'm moving around a lot. How would you change that to reported speech? Wes said, reading is a great way to improve your English skills. And again, the thing that I would tell you to focus on is that verb. How are you going to change the verb in the direct speech? Okay, so I'll give you a moment. See if you can write out the full sentence. What would you say? Wes said, reading is a great way to improve your English skills. And I think, yes, that is something I always say, and I truly believe reading it's a great way to improve your English skills. So what do you think? Getting some answers. Yes, KDWD. All right. He said that, yes, Gosia, excellent. It's in the present simple, so you're going to change it to the past. Excellent, Nat. Raghad, Antunes, perfect. Carlo, Wes said reading was a great way to improve your English skills. I'm changing it from the present simple to the past simple. And again, I've omitted that in this case. I didn't say that. It's your choice. You can use it. You can not use it. It's up to you. Let's do the next one. If I were to say, she proudly proclaimed, I was the best student in class. All right, what do you think if you want to change that direct speech to reported speech? She proudly proclaimed, I was the best student in class. Now, the one thing I will point out with this, I wanted to use that proudly proclaimed because I feel that it's a little bit of a collocation. These are words that you may hear used together. You might hear that adverb used, proudly proclaimed, all right? You were very happy about it. So if you don't know what to proclaim means, it means you're stating something kind of in an excited way. You might proudly proclaim something. So what do you think? She proudly proclaimed, I was the best student in class. The direct speech is in the past simple, So in that case, we're going to change it and use the past perfect. She proudly proclaimed that she had been the best student in class. So the verb to be is going to get changed to the past perfect had been. All right. The past simple will get changed to the past perfect. And again, this is another example. In my opinion, I do think you may hear somebody change it to reported speech, and they may also just use the past simple and say, she proudly proclaimed that she was the best student in class. You may hear people say that, but I'm just going to stick with what a grammar book would say, that you're going to change the past simple and you're going to change it to the past perfect. All right. She proudly proclaimed that she had been the best student in class. Excellent. Let's see. Do we got some? You guys are rocking this. Yes, Nat. Perfect. Andrea. Yes. Lolly, again, yes, that works if you want to stick with the past simple. In my opinion, I think that works. Rose Claire, yes, and said she had been. Remember the past participle of the verb to be. I have been, I had been in that past perfect. All right. Excellent. So again, remember, had been is what we're looking for. Now, so far we've talking about statements and just taking a statement and changing it from direct speech to reported speech. Now, not all sentences are statements, so I have another chart for you to look at. All right, so here is another chart, and I hope that this would make sense. That down below me you can see statement, question, and command. And when you change it, the sentences are going to change a little differently when you change it to reported speech, because that reported clause is going to be, that's going to change. So for example, let's look at the statement. And I've used the same context about somebody being tired. So the direct speech in the statement, which is right over up top there, he said, I'm tired. All right. If we want to change that to reported speech, I am tired, present simple gets changed to the past. He said he was tired. Now, when we're talking about statements, we're going to use the that clause. And in this case, I said that you can keep that or you can omit it and take it out. He said he was tired. He said that he was tired. All right. Both of those, that's fine. If we're talking about a question and somebody says, are you tired? She asked. Are you tired? She asked. If you want to change that to reported speech, you could say, she asked if he was tired. So instead of using that, you could use an if clause. If we're talking about a question with the verb to be, are you tired? Are you happy? Are you basically anything? Are you confused? I'm sorry, Suray, if you're a little lost. I know I'm throwing a lot at you right now. So if somebody's asking a question, are you tired? And you want to change that to reported speech, you're going to use an if clause. She asked if he was tired. The verb is still going to change the same. We're going to change it from the present, are, to the past, was. She asked if he was tired. Now, I know it could be a little more confusing. You could use an if clause or a whether clause. So for example, I could say she asked if he was tired, or I could say she asked she asked whether he was tired. Now, another type of question would be those WH questions. Who, what, where, why, when. And in that case, you're just going to use that question when you change it to reported speech. So everybody look at the question, who is tired? She asked. Who is tired? If we change that to reported speech, she asked, who was tired? We're changing the present to the past. She asked who was tired. All right? Now, if we're talking about a command, because with a command, You're talking to another person. You're giving another person a command. Go to bed, she said. So if somebody's like, oh, I'm tired, she said, go to bed, she said. That is a command. If we want to change it to reported speech, and this is definitely more advanced, she told him to go to bed. So if you're talking about command, you're going to use to plus the infinitive, to go. She told him to go to bed. Now, the other thing that I would say that is a little challenging is because she said, go to bed, she said. When we talk about say, it's this, you say something. But when you're reporting the speech, you're going to use tell. Because you use tell, you say something, you tell someone. So when you're giving a command, you're giving a command to someone. So that's the reason why the verb changed. Instead of, you're not going to say, she said him. No. She told him. Because that's the difference between say and tell. You say something, you tell someone. So again, this is a lot more advanced when you're looking at that command. Go to bed, she said. Change it to reported speech. She told him to go to bed. All right. I know that this is a lot. I know that this is a bit more advanced. I hope that the chart can help a little bit. So before I showed you, where was it? This chart right here of how to change things, all right? In the direct speech, we were looking at those verbs, all right? Present simple to past simple. I went through these different examples. So if you're a little confused, hopefully you can rewatch it again and see how these sentences got changed. Because basically what you're talking about is it's a sentence transformation. You're just changing the sentence from direct speech to reported speech or indirect speech. You're just changing the way the sentence looks. You're saying the same thing, but you're saying it in a different way. So the last one I wanted to do another little challenge, another example. So is this one, wait, we did this practice and I just showed you this. So here is one more, all right, that I wanted to give you, and I want you to change it to reported speech. Can you also get some Nutella? She asked. All right, it's a question. I don't know if you remember that, about how can you change a question to reported speech. Let me go back. Somebody asked, show the slide. All right, so here it is. If you have a question, you're going to use the if clause. All right. Now, I think you kind of have a hint, because this is the question in the conversation that I showed you at the very beginning, and I changed it to reported speech. Do you remember what it was? Can you also get some Nutella? She asked. So when you're going to change it to reported speech, start with she asked. That's your starting point. We're talking about can. Can gets changed to could. Now, the other thing about a question, remember, we're going to use an if clause. She asked if he could also get some Nutella, because she was talking to me. She asked if he could also get some Nutella. Excellent. Let's see. She asked, yes, Mina, excellent. Rabbi, Ricardo, very nice. Excellent. You guys seem to get that. Sorry, also, yes. She asked, yeah, you just need the if. If, you could say you, she asked if you could get some, I'll also get that. But remember, if it's a question, she asked if he could get something. So I know that this was a lot to throw at you today. I wanted to try and start out, I was hoping that it might be a little easier if we just start with some statements And that's when I wanted to show you this and go through each one and change the statement from direct speech to reported speech. If you're still a little confused, this is what I would recommend. Go back through these examples and look at these changes right here. Because this is very useful if you want to understand, well, why do we do this? We do this when you're writing. If you're writing a story, you might want to say things using reported speech. You're not always going to use quotes. Or if you're telling a story to somebody else and you're telling them what another person said, that's when you're going to use reported speech. So if it helps, go back through these statements and look at how they were changed. All right, I think that would help you. This right here, this chart was definitely a little more advanced because we're not just using statements. I was also talking to you about questions and commands. So I think that we may practice this a little later on. It's a lot of information to go through. There's a lot of little grammar changes that need to take place. Mostly today, I wanted you to focus on those verbs and see how those verbs changed from direct speech to reported speech. That was the main thing that I wanted you to take away from this lesson. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. I know that some of you maybe found it a little confusing. That's okay. Just keep at it. Just keep practicing. Also, if you guys, I know we had a new member today. Welcome. Saw some other members, Surey with us, other patrons like Vicky and Aiden. I saw you guys in there. If you want to show us some love, if you like what we do and want to sponsor and support Interactive English, there are links down in the description to become a member or a patron. We offer some different rewards. For example, one thing I'm going to do, which I haven't even put up there as a reward, do like a sneak peek at a future lesson. So Tuesday's lesson, which will come out on Tuesday, I'm going to post that today. I'm going to let the members and patrons, you can have a sneak peek at Tuesday's lesson. I'm trying to get ahead with my lessons, but sometimes it's difficult because there's so much going on right now. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope that it made sense a little bit. I know it's a lot to take in, but it's always good to try to practice a little bit because I think that's the best way to learn. And I love doing these live lessons because it gives you an opportunity to try to practice some of this grammar. So thank you guys. Thank you, Camila, Ira, Samia, Mina, Lali, Ethiopia. Great to see you. Just trying to throw out some more names, get some names out there. Wilbert, Hani, Marta, Mensur, Sarisha, Luna, Anderson, Soray, Nat, thank you, Abdurrahman. Thank you guys so much for joining me. We will be back next Tuesday with a regular lesson and then next Saturday with another live lesson. And please, if you are new, write your name, tell me where you're from in the comments. I just want to hear from you. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend and I will see you next time. So long.